Hey everybody, Jake here for American Trucks, and in this video we're taking a look at the Rough Country 3-inch bolt-on upper control arm suspension lift kit with the M1 monotube struts and shocks, fitting 2014 to 2020 four-wheel drive F-150 Super Cab and Super Crew models, excluding the Raptor. If you're looking for a comprehensive way to get more height for off-roading or to fit larger wheels and tires at a more budget-friendly price, you're going to want to check out this kit from Rough Country. This is a bolt-on all-inclusive lift kit that's going to get you 3 inches of extra height while also leveling out the stance of your truck and maintaining good ride quality and the correct suspension geometry. So it's going to get you the look and the clearance you want with the manners and performance that you need too. There's lots to talk about here, so let's start out with the height. This again is a 3-inch lift, so it's going to provide you enough clearance to run some larger tires on your truck as well. 33-inch tires will fit without issue. You may even be able to squeeze on some 34s, but selections are more limited for that size. So for that reason, we're going to recommend 33-inch tires for your truck with this kit. Now, of course, if you want to go any larger than those 33s or even some 34s, further modifications or a larger lift will be required. Now, starting out up front, you get a set of Rough Country's heavy-duty upper control arms. These are forged aluminum arms, and they include new Clevite rubber bushings, so they're going to provide excellent absorption of road impacts. They're also pretty lightweight. They've got a lot of structural integrity to them, enough really to hold up to whatever abuse you can think to throw at them. Now, you might have also noticed these include brand new ball joints as well, and these are also angled to accommodate for the lift. So despite adding quite a bit of height up front, these are going to keep things pretty close to your factory suspension geometry, which is going to help maintain that good ride quality and provide you with a full range of motion so you can take advantage of that added height. Also up front, you get a set of Rough Country's M1 loaded struts. Now these are going to combine with those control arms to give you that 3 inches of lift. Now, as you can see, these come pre-assembled, so there's no need to mess with spring compressors for the sake of assembly. These are just going to bolt right in. Now, these do also feature the ability to adjust the height, so should you want to lower them down later, you've got the option to do that, though the job will require some disassembly. As you can see, hopefully you can see it here, there's some snap rings that hold the spring perches in place here. You'll just have to disassemble this whole thing, and you'll have to move it down to a slightly lower groove. There's several on the body of the shock, so you can set this up to whatever height you really want. But again, that is going to require disassembly. Now, the M1s are one of Rough Country's more premium shock options, and they feature a monotube construction. Packed inside here, you'll find some serious kits such as nitrogen charging and infinitely variable damping. So these are going to give you a nice, smooth, almost stock ride quality, but they are designed specifically for lifted applications and for this extra height. So this means that the damping is tuned to keep the ride smooth out on the road while not sacrificing performance out on the trail. Now, to accomplish this, the M1s have self-adjusting deflective discs inside for independent rebound and compression adjustments, which all that is done automatically. You don't need to do anything. So what that means is, again, these are going to do a really good job of absorbing impacts and controlling rebound out on the trail, so you're not going to get a lot of sprunging around. You'll be able to control exactly what's going on with your truck. Now, that nitrogen charging also helps with heat dissipation, so even under aggressive off-roading conditions or something like a washboard road, these aren't going to suffer from fade. And again, all of that just means that you're going to be able to use them to their full extent without worrying about them fading or losing control. Moving towards the back, we have a set of spacers to give you the extra height. It's going to get the rear of the truck up nice and level to match your lift up front. So these are going to give you about a 2-inch overall lift in the rear, again functioning as a leveling kit to even out the stance of your truck. So you're getting that additional height, but your truck's going to sit nice and even front to back. And you also get a set of Rough Country's matching M1 monotube shocks to keep everything in check and maintain good ride quality. Like the front struts, these feature all the same things like that nitrogen charging and infinitely variable damping. So again, you're going to get a nice smooth ride quality, and you're going to have a nice set of matched shocks both front and rear. Plus, you also get new U-bolts in the kit too to accommodate for these larger lift blocks and get you that extra height that you need nice and safely. Construction here is all quite solid. Now, as I mentioned, the control arms up front are made of forged aluminum for strength and weight savings. These don't have any seams or welds to break, so you can be sure they're strong, and I really like the fact that they don't weigh too much. Plus, again, you've got those new bushings already in here, new Clevite rubber bushings, and a new ball joint as well. The front struts and the rear shocks have an absolutely massive 2-inch extruded tube with a 46mm high flow piston attached to an 18mm hardened chrome piston rod. So these are really solid pieces. The bodies are also finished in the zinc plating for good looks and durability. You also get new top hats and springs up front, so again, everything comes together. And the aforementioned spacers for the rear are a heavy-duty composite material that is, again, super strong and lightweight. Pricing for this kit comes in at about $1,200, and for all you're getting here, it's a pretty competitive price. Now there are of course less expensive options out there that will get you the same type of height, but they're not going to have the features like the hefty shocks and the control arms and even the springs. You could also spend a lot more on another kit, but for a truck that's really going to see mixed street and trail usage, this is an excellent option because it's going to provide you a nice balance of on-road matters and off-road performance. Installation will get a 3 out of 3, and it's likely going to take you upwards of 6 hours to complete this job. Now you can certainly do this at home in your driveway or garage, especially since everything you need to get the job done is included, short of tools. You've even got new hardware for your shocks and your struts. However, this is a bit of an involved job, and if you aren't necessarily comfortable disassembling suspension components, professional installation is always an option. But you can do it at home as there are no modifications needed to your truck. This is all going to bolt right on and you can hit the road. Do make sure though that once you've got everything buttoned up and given it a little chance to settle in, that you go and get your truck properly aligned so you're not wearing out your tires or have your steering wheel cocked to the side. But with that though, let's head out to the install bay and we'll show you how to get this installed.
For this install, you will need air and electric impacts, a ratchet, a swivel adapter, 3/8 1/2-inch adapter if necessary, 8, 10, 15, 16, 18, 19, 21, and 22 millimeter sockets, a 15 millimeter ratchet wrench, 18, 19, and 21 millimeter wrenches, various size pry bars, a ball joint service tool, a bungee cord, a hammer, and also not shown here are a couple pole jacks or a jack and jack stands. What's up guys, today we're going to be doing a lift kit on our F-150, so let's get started. So now we're going to begin with our rear section here, and the first thing we're going to do is remove our factory rear shocks. So what we're going to need for that is an 18 millimeter wrench and a 15 mil socket on our impact. We'll go ahead and remove the lower mount, then we'll remove our upper mount and remove our shocks. Now one thing to note here is we do have a couple pole jacks underneath our differential supporting that, as well as a third, which is optional but does help out maintaining your driveline angle, and that's right under the yoke here on our drive shaft. Go ahead and make sure our shock comes out of our bottom mounting cradle. Then we'll go ahead and remove our top mount. Now that we've got that nut removed, we'll go ahead and support our shock. And remove our bolt. Go ahead and pull our shock out. Now we'll go ahead and do the same thing for our other shock. So now we're going to go ahead and loosen our driver's side U-bolts, and then we're going to fully remove our passenger side U-bolts, and then we'll go ahead and back together in the opposite order. So we'll grab our 21 mil socket on our impact, loosen up our driver's side, then come over here and remove this side. Now, as you remove your last nut, you want to support your bottom cradle bracket. That'll come right off. Then we'll go ahead and remove our factory U-bolts. Now we'll go ahead and lower this side of our differential and remove our factory block. Now we've got our new block, we're going to go ahead and lower our differential down just a little bit more so we can have enough room to install this, and it's going to line up with the two factory dowel points on our differential mount as well as our leaf spring. We've got that in on our differential side. We'll go ahead and raise it back up and lock it in on our leaf spring side. Now we'll go ahead and loosely install our new U-bolts with our factory cradle bracket on the bottom. And then we'll go ahead and do the same thing for the other side, and we'll tighten both of them at one time. We'll get these in their position here, the same as factory. We'll grab our factory cradle bracket here, get that in position. Then we'll grab our provided 22mm lock nuts as well as flat washers. We'll get a couple on just to hold this in place. Now we can install our other two. Now we'll grab our 22mm socket on our impact, and we're going to run these up just so our cradle is kind of snug but not fully tight yet, so we can do the other side. You also want to alternate the sides that you're tightening so that your cradle comes back up to the differential evenly. Now we'll go ahead and do the same thing for the other side, and then we'll come back and tighten these down. Now we'll go ahead and tighten all these down again with our 22mm socket on our impact. Again, you want to alternate which side you're tightening. A crisscross pattern is very efficient for these. And you can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So now we can go ahead and install our new shocks. Now these are directional. You have a label here for the top mount. So we'll go ahead and reuse our factory 15mm bolt and 18mm nut to mount these in place. So we'll go ahead and get this lined up with our top mount. Bolt in, then loosely install this nut. Then we'll go ahead and get our lower mount on. Now these shocks are pretty stiff in comparison to our factory ones, so compressing them by hand isn't really the most efficient way. So what we're gonna do is grab our pry bar. We're gonna hook that into this lower mounting cradle, kind of let our shock ride on that up to the mount. We'll go ahead and lock this in place here. Go ahead and get this on. We can pick up on that. Kind of push it up like so, and get it to start compressing. And watch your fingers. Go ahead and get that lined up with the cradle. And once it's in there, don't take your pry bar out just yet. We're gonna still use it to line our shock back up, because it'll happen like that. All right. Once you have your bottom bolt lined up and through, we can go ahead and reinstall our mounting nuts and tighten those down. So now we'll go ahead and tighten down our upper and lower mounting bolts with our 18mm wrench and 15mm socket again. Now we can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So we'll go ahead and grab our 8mm and 10mm socket for our ratchet and remove these two bolts holding our brackets in place. And once we pull that out and separate our bracket, we'll go ahead and put that bolt right back where it went. This just makes things easier to keep track of. It's easy to lose these small bolts. We'll swap out to our 10mm socket. Go ahead and remove this one. Make sure that's free and clear. It's not going to catch on anything. Next, we can go ahead and remove our outer tie rod nut using our 21mm socket on our impact. So sometimes these can be a little bit stubborn coming out, so what we're going to do is grab our ball joint service tool and go ahead and use this to press our tie rod out of the knuckle. So we'll go ahead and hook this onto our knuckle and get our pusher lined up with the bottom of our ball joint shaft. Get that nice and tight there. Then we're going to grab our 16mm socket on our impact and gently push that out. Now you do want to exercise caution because this is going to be under pressure, so don't put your face near it or anything like that. Once that's up and out, go ahead and pull our tie rod out. Next, we'll go ahead and remove our sway bar end link from our lower control arm. So we'll grab our 18 mil socket on our impact to do that. Now we can go ahead and loosen up our mounting nut for our upper ball joint here. And we're not going to fully remove this just yet. We're going to leave it on a couple threads. It's going to help catch the knuckle once we separate the ball joint from the knuckle. So we'll grab our 18 mil socket and swivel adapter on our impact, loosen this up. Make sure that stays on a few threads. Now before we separate this, we're going to go ahead and grab a bungee cord and wrap that around the top of the knuckle and hook it to our frame. This is going to help hold our knuckle and allow it to not drop and separate any of our axle components or anything like that. Just a handy dandy tool to have. Go ahead and hook this. Now we'll go ahead and grab our hammer and give our knuckle a few taps here to separate that ball joint. So now we'll go ahead and get our nut off of here and get our ball joint out of our knuckle, and we'll just roll our knuckle to the side. Okay. Just go ahead and stick that nut right back on our upper ball joint. So now we can go ahead and unbolt our lower strut mounts. Now ours have been replaced due to many previous installs and overworking of our hardware. So ours is going to be a 19 mil wrench and a 19 mil socket on our impact. Go ahead and pull that first bolt out. So we'll go ahead and remove our other mounting bolt. Now from the factory, these are pressed in studs going down, so you would have a mounting nut. Now you could either hammer those out or kind of use a pry bar and pull down on your lower control arm. Just be mindful of your axle in order to get this out of its seat here. So now we're going to go ahead and remove the 3 upper mounting nuts for our strut. So we'll grab our 15 millimeter ratcheting wrench. I like to use S wrenches for these. You get a bit more articulation, but a regular ratchet wrench will work. So once you have all these loose, you should be able to go ahead and support your strut and loosen all these up and get them out by hand. And go ahead and pull your strut. So now that we have our strut out, we can go ahead and remove our upper control arm. That is held on by these 2 bolts here. So what we're gonna do is grab our shallow 18 mil socket on our impact and a 21 millimeter wrench, and go ahead and get in there and remove those bolts and take our upper control arm out. Now once we've removed the nuts, we can go ahead and pull our bolts out, support our control arm, and we can go ahead and take that out. Now we can go ahead and install our new upper control arm, and we're going to go ahead and reuse those factory bolts and nuts. So we'll go ahead and line this up where our stock one came out. Might be a little tight coming in, but that's okay. Go ahead and reinstall our bolts. goes all the way through. We'll go ahead and reinstall our 21 mil nuts. Now we can go ahead and tighten this down. Now we're going to use our arm to go ahead and set this in an upward position. That's going to be more like how it's going to sit. So we'll go ahead and do that. And again, we'll use our 18 mil socket on our impact and a 21 mil wrench to go ahead and tighten these down. So now we can go ahead and get our new strut assembly installed. So we're going to line our top mounting studs up and go ahead and grab our provided 15 millimeter flange nuts, get that loosely in place, then we'll get the bottom lined up and mounted. Once we get one on, that'll hold it in place. We'll go ahead and get the other two loosely installed, come back to our bottom. Now that we have that loosely in place, we'll go ahead and push our bottom mounting point into our lower control arm and get that lined up. So now we'll grab our provided 18 millimeter bolts and flat washers and go ahead and set those through into our mounting point. Go ahead and line that up. So now once you have your bolts worked all the way through, we can go ahead and grab our other flat washer and lock nut for the bottom. Get that on each bolt. Now we'll go ahead and tighten these two down with a 19 mil socket on our impact and an 18 mil wrench. So now we're going to get our new control arm mounted into our knuckles. So we're going to grab a pry bar, pull down on our upper control arm to get the stud through the seat, and then go ahead and install our provided flange nut for that. Now we'll go ahead and remove our bungee cord. And we can tighten down our new upper ball joint nut here with our 18 mil socket and swivel adapter on our impact. So now we can go ahead and tighten down our upper three mounting nuts using our 15 millimeter ratcheting wrench. Again, I like to use a S wrench, gives you a little more articulation, but a regular ratchet wrench will do. Next, we can go ahead and reinstall our outer tie rod into our knuckle. So we'll go ahead and get that in place. Reinstall our 21 mil nut. And we'll go ahead and tighten that back down with our 21 mil socket on our impact. Now we'll go ahead and reinstall our 18 millimeter nut on our sway bar end link here. And we'll tighten that back down using our 18 mil socket on our impact. Now we'll go ahead and reinstall our ABS and brake line brackets. So we'll pull those bolts out. Get our brake line bracket in first. And we'll tighten that back down with our 10 mil socket on our ratchet. And we'll swap out to our 8 mil socket. Go ahead and reinstall our ABS line bracket. And tighten that back down. So once you've completed these steps for this side, you can go ahead and repeat the same process for the other side. Alrighty guys, that about wraps up our review and install of our Rough Country 3-inch bolt-on upper control arm suspension lift kit with M1 monotube struts and shocks for your 14 to 24 wheel drive F-150 Super Cab Super Crew excluding Raptor. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything F-150, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.